mercy, and mercy has not been given.
24 hours in one of Ireland's most haunted castles, Charleville.
Hello and welcome to Most Haunted. In our search to find somewhere where things literally go bump in the night, we've come to Ireland, to a place called Charleville Forest Castle, where we're going to be locked in for 24 hours.
Charleville Forest Castle is located in the centre of Ireland near the town of Tullamore. Charles William Bury, the first Earl of Charleville, built the castle in the 1700s over the top of an ancient Druid burial ground where people were buried alive to stop the spread of the plague. There is a labyrinth of dungeons that lie beneath the castle, though why they were used is not really clear. Many people over the years have encountered ghostly apparitions, glowing lights and noises, the sound of ghostly laughter to terrified screams. Would we experience anything similar?
This is a beautiful castle.
Yes.
But a lot of the hauntings here are supposed to be around sounds. Why do you think that is?
Well, most commonly, haunted places are haunted, if you like, by sounds rather than apparitions and smells. Sounds are the more common phenomena that are reported.
What about a séance? Because we are going to do a séance tonight. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I wanted to reconstruct a typical Victorian séance here because we've not tried that before, as you say, as an experiment, if you like. We're going to have red light set up.
What does that do?
Well, red light, when sort of séance took off in the spiritualist heyday, which was in 1848, began in Hydesville in the USA, two sisters actually started knocking on tables and asking for responses, and things started to knock back, and that's really where séances took off from. And they used to use a red bulb for the light. Now, that was just coincidence, really, but that's what they used. And now, séances are performed with red light. And the reason that people do that now is because they say that ectoplasm, which is a sort of substance that ghosts are supposed to be made of, is only seen by a human eye in red light conditions. So we've got two red lights here that we're going to set up, and hopefully we'll be able to see some ectoplasm tonight, if such a thing exists.
And I bet you nobody will be stay sitting at that table.
I'll stay sitting.
Well, you would, because you're brave.
We've got one other experiment too that I'm not going to tell you about now, but it's quite an exciting one.
I've lived here for 12 years. We came over from the States. It was a fairy tale castle that was just going to ruin. The rain was pouring in. It was just incredible. My son, when we came here, was very young. I'd say when he went missing, we were terrified because we had heard a story about a little girl falling off the stairwell. And sure enough, he was at the bottom of the stairs. And he said, "Don't worry, Mommy." He said, "A little boy and girl held my hand." And then we started to hear voices outside our rooms, mumbling, not clear. You couldn't hear clearly what they were saying, but it was evident somebody else was there. And then right above my room was the children's nursery. And I woke one morning at 3 and heard children seemingly running and shouting and screaming, and I said, "Oh God, somebody's gotten in." So I took the torch and went upstairs, and there was absolutely no one. And that happened maybe 3-4 times in a row, and then it would happen just every so often, and there was never anyone there. And then we found out it was nursery, so it would be normal. They'd be laughing. In some of the bedrooms, you'd hear a child crying. My little girl used to go and play with the little girl that fell from the stairwell. Maybe when she was about 6, she'd say, "I'm going and playing." And she wasn't the type of child that makes up friends. So I just didn't say anything, let her go and play. Then my mother is the one that saw them, actually. The kids don't remember much of their vision of them, but she was in her bedroom on winter solstice, which we didn't know at the time, and she woke and thought my stepfather was crossing the room in a red robe until she realized he was asleep. And the man with the red was as clear as you and I, with a big red greatcoat. And then the little girl who had blue ribbons from her hair. They didn't say anything, and she kept watching. And then as she was looking, there appeared, she said anywhere from 15, 17 druids. It was a large number in hooded white cowls. And they all approached her bed, right around it, formed a circle, and all went like this. Now, they weren't as clear. They were, I guess maybe they're not as strong. They all went like this to her. And then gradually all vanished. She was very surprised. She was curious as to what they wanted. You know, would they maybe speak? Could we see why they were here? Who were they? There was an ancient druid site here with the ancient forest, the oak forest. It was also a center for learning, so that could have been monks. Or this was a mason house, so it could have also been masons. So we don't know which category they were. We figured the little girl was the one that fell. Then when I was reading a book, I came across this. It was a bust of Francis Johnston, who was the architect of the castle. And it was him as a young man. She stopped me. She said, "That's the man in the red." So it was Francis Johnston in the red. Then several months later again, we found a book on the first Earl who had the castle built. And she was again looking over my shoulder, and she said, "That's the man in the green." And he was the first Earl, Charles William Bury, and he had the castle built. When we have a good party, people will report activity, things that have happened. A friend of Dudley's, who's a professor and very serious, the children said to him after a party, they said, you know, Richard wouldn't close his door, he wouldn't shut his light off. What was wrong with him? He's a grown-up. So he came down, and I said, "Richard, what's wrong?" He said, "Well," he said, "I wouldn't mind," he said, "except there were two English gentlemen, obviously from another century, talking and drinking and having a wonderful time." He said, "But I couldn't see them." So, and then people that generally don't believe things are very surprised. Skeptics, they like to play tricks on skeptics and kind of show themselves, or you might hear a scream, or children are crying somewhere. They're not scary. They're quite friendly. I mean, I think I'd actually miss them if they were gone.
We had only been in the castle for a few hours, and already some strange things were happening to many of us.
I was just on the other side, just preparing. All of a sudden, the bag just started swinging quite dramatically like that. And at first I thought it was a cat playing with the bag, and it wasn't. It was just swinging quite happily on its own. And no one was in the kitchen. It wasn't a breeze or anything. And it was just swinging away. The cat came through the door on the other side, and all sort of morning it's been round my legs, playing and messing about. And all of a sudden it came in, lay quite close to the floor, ears back against its head, and wouldn't come into the kitchen at all, and then just walked off. Sat there for about 5 minutes and just didn't look happy at all, and just walked off.
Well, I was in the loo, as you do, and the lights were off.
And I was washing my makeup sponges by the sink, and I heard a click, turned around, thought it was a light switch, but the lights didn't come on immediately, so I thought nothing of it. Then the lights did come on.
Yeah.
I said, "Yvette, the lights have come on."
And I went, "Oh, don't be silly, Marcel, you just turned them on."
And I had, no way, hadn't.
We went to speak to Bridget, and apparently that's a normal occurrence. And they like to switch themselves on. And not only that, but the loos like to flush themselves.
I won't go in there by myself.
I will never go in the loo on my own.
Well, I find this really funny because I just went to the loo and I walked in, perhaps 5-6 seconds later, the door behind me slammed shut. It didn't click shut, it slammed shut. So I was thinking, right, okay, someone's playing a trick on me. So afterwards, I checked. There was no one in the whole area. Andrea was cooking in 2 or 3 rooms away. And I carried my movements again. I restructured my movements into the room to see if there was an air displacement causing the door to shut. There wasn't. Didn't do it. and it slammed shut.
The top floor of the castle was reserved for the children, despite the fact that it's totally empty now. People have heard when they're downstairs the dragging of furniture and also little footsteps running up and down these corridors. This staircase is the scene of one of the most tragic accidents here at the castle. A young girl called Harriet Bury was playing here. She was sliding down the banisters when she fell to her death. Now, children that come here to play have reported seeing her, and sometimes they say she even offers them a helping hand on the stairs. Below the castle, there's a maze of tunnels and dungeons. One night, the owner heard screams and cries coming from down here, and he decided to investigate. Now, armed with just a box of matches to light the way, the screams led him to the dungeon door. And once he stepped inside, the voices finally stopped.
While we were waiting for our spiritualist medium, Derek Okora, to arrive, another member of our crew, Carl the producer, was finding something unexplainable going on.
Right, through here was this door here. Now this opened and shut, it didn't slam, it was just this. I left the door open and just when I was leaving I heard it shut again. And I came back and it was definitely shut, but there's no one here. Opening, shutting, opening, shutting. I did it about 4 or 5 times. When I heard it shut, I came back and it was definitely shut.
Oh, weird. Ah, Mr. Okora.
I am that.
How are
Jason.
you?
Wow.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Castle.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
I suggest that we go downstairs first, because I think it'll give you a good feeling about the whole place.
Okay.
So to do that, we need to go back down the stairs.
Okay.
All right, okay.
Right. Okay.
As we headed downstairs, Derek was pulled towards the dungeons, and the feelings he was picking up were not good ones.
The residual energy. It's like as if I want to cry out, I want mercy, I want mercy, I want mercy. And mercy has not been given. A lot of people crammed. You see, I'm getting soldiers in the residual. And people who are cruel, very, very, very cruel. There's a lot of deaths that have occurred here. Not just incarceration.
Deaths.
Cruelty.
Do you mean actually here in this chamber?
Taken from this chamber, but some deaths also here. Just dragged out, just like a piece of meat. Oh! And also dismemberment as well.
Oh, God.
Dismemberment, because I'm getting the stench of that as well coming in. This is a, as much as it can be, a hell state of torment here. A hell state of torment. This can never ever be eradicated, be taken from here.
Why?
Because the build-up and the length of time of the cruelties
It's just too much.
is too much. This would reach right the way through this castle to the highest point. I feel that the screams of the wretchedness echo from these levels quite often.
Come with me into another chamber.
Another thing, can I say?
It was interesting that screams have been heard by the residents, but who or what was responsible for these noises?
He's got very strong conditions here. The name O'Reilly.
Right.
And he was a nasty, cruel, beastly sort of a man. He was a wretched soul. He must have been a jailer. There were children here as well. There were children here. Why, Sam? Why is there a priest here? Something to do with a priest.
What sort of priest?
I feel he was A person of the cloth. Has he? Did he have a chapel? Okay, in this castle here there's a chapel. A chapel somewhere. And it's hidden. Who? Say it again. Did he know about this? It was under his rule? Give me his name, Sam. Say it again, please. Is he active in the castle? He is. Okay. He either knew or he didn't know. He knew. Okay. Charles Moore. Charles Moore.
And he's the priest?
No. Who's Charles Moore? He's the Earl. The Earl. He knew of the doings here.
Who are the children?
They belong to the servant woman. The servant woman. The servant women. Something to do with the servant women. The children.
And they were kept prisoner in here?
I believe they were incarcerated for some reason.
Oh, God.
Were they incarcerated, Sam, or were they used? They used to come here. Now, can I just say the children used to come in? I don't know if they used the children, I don't know what the use for children were, but I don't know whether when these souls who were locked away were fed, children were...
Yeah.
As servants?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't understand. Were the children incarcerated? They were used
Right.
to bring in food stuff
Right.
for these wretched souls.
Come on out of here.
With cold walls and dark, shadowy corners, tales of prisoners and tormented souls, Derek was finding the atmosphere in the dungeons disturbing and disorientating. But he was determined to continue, and we moved deeper into the labyrinth of cells.
Lots of souls. Wow. This is a chamber of death here. This area needs blessing. Absolutely.
They died in here, then, when you
Yes.
say chamber of death.
Yes.
And are the souls still here?
Oh, very much so. A lot of them.
Can you see them?
They're keeping out of view.
Yeah.
And I feel it's this O'Reilly. O'Reilly, he's trying to block my view of actually linking with these souls that are in a wretched state. Not just a blessing, it needs to be cleansed. Oh, look at this. There's a very, very strong negative force here. A very strong negative force.
Can we go through?
We can. If there's any kind of touch, please, we must come out.
Okay.
Okay? You're going to be okay, right? You just come with me, okay? If you have that, come on, Jason will be with us. He's here. Oh. You stand back. How dare you? You stand back. You can't harm us. You stand back, sir. Right, hold on.
Right, that was just a reaction.
Come on. Hold on. He's nasty. He hit me with I don't know what it was. Crossed the... Boom! To me like that.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay, honestly.
Who's him? Is it the jailer, the person you were talking about
Yes,
before? Is
it's
that what you
him,
mean?
O'Reilly.
Right.
You know what this soul did? So many times. He come when people were actually alive and living, and he cut them, and he dismembered them. Some of them alive. He took limbs from them, screaming.
Oh,
Do you mean for pleasure?
Yeah.
Do you want to go in the middle?
What a negative force you are.
We're behind you, Derek.
Okay, it's all right. You step back. You cannot harm me. There he goes, he's stepping back there.
Yeah, step back, whoever you are. I've got a big torch.
You nasty, evil soul. This is his place.
Why is he connected to here?
I feel he moved. Oh yes, okay, thank you, Sam. He would have moved bodies, things when he hit, cut, and dragged them through here. Absolutely into here, and just pile them up with some of them on top of each other. Spiritual light can never ever come into this essence, ever. I suppose you could call it, in that term, I can't even give the word because the way I'm feeling about it. It's just taken me back so much.
Is he gone from here now?
He's still here. Can I say to you, Yvette, Jason, on our arrival, I saw out from the castle, along the lanes, these shacks, yeah, and I saw a few people. They looked very, very, very bedraggled and very, very poor, and what have you. And a lot of those souls from out there were brought here.
Why were they brought here?
I don't know, Jason. I keep on asking why. But a lot of them found themselves in these, what can you call them? Hell state. In all my time that I've been working with Spirit OK, this is the most concentrated evil force of a level I've come across down here.
Why, can I ask you a question? Why do you say that when I've been with you to other places where people have been jailed and tortured?
Yes.
Why is this one so much more concentrated than those places?
Because of the sheer volume of people that were incarcerated here. The sheer volume. They were hoarding here like cattle.
Oh, God, that's awful.
You know, as far as living conditions, breathing and what have you, the concentration of bodies and what have you would have made the atmosphere so stagnant that poor souls wouldn't have been able to breathe properly whilst they're still in the physical body, apart from the starvations. And if they cried out for food and what have you, suddenly to get their arm or their leg locked off by this evil force of a man. And he was unusually big. He was a freak. He was big in stature for his time. Whereas the other people, a lot of them were of small stature, and he towered over them. Bright red hair, this man. Bright red hair.
Can we get out of here?
Yeah. Yes. I'd like to, actually.
Can you?
These feelings are not good here.
We left the dungeons of Charleville Forest Castle and moved on. I wanted Derek to visit the staircase. Would he pick up on the little girl?
I'm being made aware of movement up and down. Who is he? Bear with me with this now. There's a man called Charles William. Charles William Berry. Berry. He walks these stairs. His history or the link with this man, with this building, with this castle. Very, very strong influence with this man. A very strong, a person who was very, very important in his time.
Right.
I feel. Now there's a man, I can see a man here. Okay, that's better, Sam. Encouraging. Okay, there's a spirit person, a man here.
Careful.
Who, I'll just, are you okay, Yvette? If you, okay. Now he's moved from there to there. I'll just describe him as I'm actually seeing him. Again, this is not a tall man. Yeah. To my hands. He's right there in front. He's there. He's so tall. And you know, he's got a white, curled, like wig. A wig. And he's got a longish, cutaway coat, and it's ribbed like cream and red, and the buttons are cloth, and the jacket's to here. They're not trousers, they're like, what do you call them? Like a dark blacky grey stockinette type here to the legs, and the buckle shoe. Now, this man, he's standing with his hands like this, okay, portly, and this wig, and noble thoughts with this man.
Right.
I feel ill. Sam keeps on saying ill. He's the one that walks these stairs. Up and down. Goes right to the top wherever that goes to.
Do you want to go up?
Can we please?
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to do that.
Sir Derek had not picked up on the little girl who had tragically died on the staircase. However, her father, Charles William Bury, not Berry, was coming through strongly. We were walking all the passages and rooms of the castle. Derek had led us from the dungeons, up the vast main staircase, and now to the highest battlements. He was following a spirit presence, but who was it?
For some reason, this priest-type figure, but I can't get to the bottom of it because that keeps him it's blocking me. It's a priest, it's a person that was of the cloth, but not a conventional priest. I can't really make it out.
Can you see what he looks like? Could you describe his appearance?
Yes, well, to a degree I can. He's not unlike a monk, really. You know, in look. He's got the hood. And he's... there's something wrong about him.
What sort of... Is it like a brown habit, then, that a monk would
Yes,
wear?
like that, like a habit. But I've not got brown, I've got grey with this. Grey. And
My
this
torch just vibrated all on its...
Yeah, this person has facial hair.
Right.
Okay, and he was also not a good figure, not a good soul.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
This torch just vibrated all on its own. The torch doesn't vibrate.
What, violently?
Well, like a buzzing. The whole thing buzzed.
Does it do that if the battery gets low?
Oh.
No.
Could be his essence, you know, doing
I was
this.
like that, and the whole thing went zzz.
It could be his essence doing this of it.
Do you want me to hold it?
Well, I'm not scared, no, but it was just bizarre.
This person walks here. Often.
This priest?
Yeah. Often.
Is he connected to the castle, then?
Yes, he is.
Why is he still here?
Because I feel he hasn't rightfully gone into the world of spirit because he, to the people in the outside world, he was supposed to be one type of figure of the links with religion, but he had, his personality was doing the opposite of what he should be. Just not a good person at all.
Can I make a suggestion? Do you think it's a good time now to go and sit in the library room and get ready for the séance?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because
Do you?
I think maybe more things have become clear.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Possibly
Shall
they
we do
will.
that?
Yes,
let's
please.
head on
Looking
down
forward to
then and
that.
do that.
Yes, please.
Yeah. God, watch his step.
According to the Victorians who first introduced séances, objects such as bells and candles were used to entice spirits into the room. A mirror was often used as it was believed to be a portal into the next world and a place for spirits to enter ours.
Okay, so first of all, everybody, we can join our hands. And the reason we do this, although it looks quite peculiar and dramatic, it's not. The reason we do it is, in the heyday of spiritualism, people used to commit fraud and to eradicate or reduce the possibility of people doing things with their hands in the dark and making things move. You all hold hands so we know the person next to us isn't doing anything with their hands. And also, it's supposedly a way of energy moving around the circle. So in a minute, if everyone shuts their eyes after finish talking and tries and thinks of nothing, try to clear your mind, but don't try and think of nothing, because nothing is something itself, nothing is a thought. So try and see white light. And the theory has it that we can move energy around the circle. So if you can imagine receiving energy from the finger on the person on the left and passing through your body to the person on your right, and if you visualise the energy moving around the circle, getting faster and faster and stronger, sort of white energy light, that's what the psychics and mediums say, so we'll see if anything happens.
Can I just ask a question before that? Where does séance come from? How did it start?
Well, séances really started a long time ago, in 1848 in fact, in Hydesville in the United States of America, where two sisters of Fox sisters lived, and they were one day messing around talking to ghosts and asking for knocks, and they actually got them. And this became a bit of a parlour trick, and people used to come and watch them doing it, and it continued to happen. And it grew from there, people asking for the same thing, and that's really how spiritualism, the spiritualism movement began, and it crossed over overseas, and now it's a mainstream religion.
You've got a bell in front of you as well. Are you going to be using that one? What's it there for?
We've got a couple of different things in the room. This bell, again, it's only theory, of course, it's not something which can be proved, but psychics and mediums and people involved in New Age practices say that bells attract spirits. So during the séance, I will ring the bell and ask for spirits to join us in the room. We've also got, over above the fireplace, a mirror with a candle in front of it, because a lot of people who've had ghostly experiences said it's been by candlelight with mirrors, and mirrors are supposed to be a sort of dimension portal between our world and the next world, if you believe in things like that. Okay, watch out for the mirror because it's coming through, okay? So we all shut our eyes now, and as I said before, try and visualise the white energy moving around the room from left to right. Now, if anybody experiences anything at all, however mild or slight, please say, we're not going to jump around and say what it goes, but just say what you're experiencing at the time, okay? Because often people say afterwards what they've experienced. Please say at the time, whether that's a touch or whatever. Okay, if there are any spirits in the room or in the castle who wish to contact any member of the circle sat here in the library, please give us a sign that you are here. Use our collective energy in order to manifest. Or create some kind of sign that you are here. Now, if anybody does receive what they believe to be an indication of something present, please tell me.
That head thing again's happening with me.
What head thing?
My head's been really hot again. Like pins and needles on top of my head.
Like pressure, you mean?
No, like burning. Do you remember?
Heat. You've had that before, didn't
Yes,
you?
I did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Not in the same.
I've not experienced it today at all.
I'm going to try ringing the bell, guys. So I don't know what to use hands. I'm not quite sure how I'm supposed to do this, but if there's any spirit here, please come into the room and give us a sign that you are here. Please give us a sign that you are here. If there are any spirits in the room or in the castle who wish to contact any member of the circle sat here in the library, please give us a sign that you are here. If you can give us a sign... Oh, that's not... I'm not just saying that something tickled my ear. It was here. Oh, no. It was like that. That was really strange. Sorry about that. Okay, let's get back to some... If there's any spirit here, please come into the room and give us a sign that you're here. No, that's quite odd. Quick, check the count that candle. Because I know counts do that, but it's as I was doing that, but that candle actually was burning like there was a wind. All the others aren't doing it. All of us are dead calm, so there's no breeze in this room. No, I'll be honest with you, there's no breeze whatsoever. There's nothing here, but your hand up here, there's nothing, doesn't it all? No, there isn't, not a sausage, not even, not anything.
With Jason experiencing something tickling his ear and a candle that nearly went out, our Victorian séance had come to an interesting end. It was time to cover as much of the castle as we could, and to do this, we had to split into small groups. Rick and Carl, the producer, went to investigate the dungeons, and Jason and myself went upstairs. Without my knowledge, Jason was leading me to an experiment that had been set up earlier, and I was to be the guinea pig.
How do you feel?
Frightened.
Do you?
Yes, how do you feel?
Excited.
Why would you want to live here? God, my heart is pounding.
You're all right, don't worry.
And if something fell now...
I know.
Oh, that's not nice! Jason, please, I'm so scared.
It's all right.
A wall had moved on its own, or so I thought. It was Rick and Carl pushing a false wall from the other side, and the experiment got the desired effect.
We basically set this up to see how much disbelief you can actually make the human mind go through, because obviously the wall can't move, ghosts can't move a wall, but in a place like this, your belief in what's rational, what's not, changes.
I knew it was a trick as soon as afterwards when I gone, ah! And then I thought, oh, it's okay, it's not real.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see, because in a place like this where you're expecting things to happen, the human mind isn't rational, and that's important to remember.
Cruel. You're really, really
But it's
cruel,
great
and I'm
fun.
not happy about it.
As my nerves had already been tested, Rick and Carl were the lucky ones who had to investigate the dungeons. This was the place where Derek had supposedly been hit on the arm by a bad-tempered spirit.
So be brave and just go to stand in the middle of the rainbow and colours.
I'll tell you what, here we go. We both have to take turns in going and standing through that black void, yeah? And just standing there. You're not letting go of this.
I'm not letting go of that.
Come on.
No, I'm taking it, you will see if it goes up.
The first sign, I will shine it on for you, I promise you.
Hold on, don't flick it yet. It's pitch black. Something's just tickled my hair.
Wait, in here?
Yeah, something's just tickled my hair. Oh, I don't want to stay in there.
Right, whereabouts was it? Whereabouts were you?
Just walk straight. Oh, God, that's awful.
It's very scary.
With Rick seeing Derek being hurt earlier in the same place, was he expecting anything to happen? Had something touched him, or was it his imagination? In one of the rooms upstairs, Jason and I heard a tapping sound. Listen carefully.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yes, what is it?
Did you hear that in there?
Yes.
That tap? Shall we go and investigate?
Oh, God.
I did hear that noise there, did you?
Yeah.
And we haven't heard any of the noises here. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's dead silent.
Let's see if we hear another noise from there. If we do, we'll go and investigate.
Charles?
No, don't. Oh, God, please.
If you're here,
God.
Charles, if it was you earlier on during the séance who touched my ear, then please give me another sign that you're here.
Come on, let's have a look in here. This looks a bit foreboding, doesn't it? This is unbelievable.
What the heck's there?
Did you see that?
As Rick and Carl were entering an outbuilding, they heard a noise that sounded like furniture being moved. But when they went inside, all was quiet. Jason and I had decided to sit quietly on the stairs and see if we could catch anything paranormal on camera. Would the little girl Harriet, who died on the stairs, make something happen?
Harriet, if you're here and you'd like to talk to us, or communicate with us, or play, if you could give us some footsteps or movement or something, Do you know what I am getting? I've had it upstairs as well. I'm keeping really short of breath. Just to breathe normally, it's like an effort to breathe, and it's not the way I'm sat, because I had that when I started upstairs after that tapping noise. What's that there? Come quick.
Wait for me, wait for me. After hearing what sounded like the door at the bottom of the stairs opening and shutting, we went to have a look, only to discover there was no one there.
Okay, well, we both just... Did you hear it?
Yes,
It'll be on the camera, that, 'cause
yes.
it's loud.
Yes.
It was like, I don't know, what would be like a clicking noise or something.
Yes. So that somebody was touching the door.
Yeah.
Trying to open the door.
The residents at Charleville Castle hear ghostly noises all the time, and we were experiencing similar things: doors banging, touches and tapping noises. Our investigation was definitely interesting, and even though nothing ghostly materialised, most of us had experienced some strange goings-on that are definitely unexplainable.
I did have several unusual things happen to me here, and from other people's point of view, they might have said that the ghosts were picking on me. Now, I don't agree with that, but there were some odd things that happened that I can't explain, and I did feel a sense of, I don't quite know what's going on here, and I did feel a little bit, not out of my depth, but as if there was more going on than I could understand.
When I walked into a certain area, the mental pictures and also the pickup on the residual energy of that atmosphere was such a vile way of people being incarcerated. And the interesting thing about it is the pictures that I was actually seeing mentally were most certainly genuine, and yet, on record, it would not be so, because it was covered up. It was covered up.
Once again, as we've had in lots of other locations, some of the crew have had different experiences of things touching their head. What's interesting, I think, is when they sort of corroborate each other. For example, one of the things that happened to me was a door slammed, and I eradicated any natural cause that I could see for that. And then later on, Yvette and Marcel had a strange experience in the same room where my door had slammed. So that's interesting, where things are happening in the same place. But there again, you could say auto-suggestion. They knew I had an odd experience, and that's why they did. Who knows?
Well, that has to be the biggest castle I think we've stayed 24 hours in, and it certainly had its spooky moments, and I can assure you we'll have plenty more on our next location. In the meantime, sleep tight.
Just walking up on there and you were behind me, and I just felt a tap on the back of my head.
Something's just touched my ear. Something's just come into my ear, gone back out and gone back in.
I looked round and you're obviously
Too far away.
too far away.
This torch just vibrated all on its own.
What, violently?
Oh, like a buzzing. The whole thing buzzed.